It's September 12th, 1918. The First World War is reaching its bloody climax. Over the shattered front lines of France, a young American pilot grips the controls of his fighter plane. His name is Second Lieutenant Frank Luke, Jr., and in just a few minutes, he'll become a legend. The air around him shakes with explosions. Black clouds of anti-aircraft fire rise toward his fragile biplane. Somewhere up ahead floats his target, a massive German observation balloon, used to spot Allied troops and direct artillery fire. It may look harmless, but it's surrounded by a wall of guns. Shooting down one of these balloons is one of the deadliest jobs in the sky. Most pilots avoid them. Frank Luke doesn't. He dives straight into the storm, his twin machine guns blazing. Bullets tear through the balloon's skin, spilling hydrogen into the cold air. But nothing happens. No fire, no explosion. He pulls away, barely avoiding a hail of shells bursting around him. He could quit now and no one would blame him. But Frank was never one to walk away unfinished. He circles back and dives again, even lower this time. Tracers whip past his wings, but he keeps firing. The balloon still refuses to burn. His aircraft is riddled with holes, fabric torn and frame trembling. Yet Frank turns back for a third run. He closes in, presses the trigger, and suddenly, boom! A spark ignites the leaking hydrogen, and in an instant, the entire sky erupts into a tower of fire. The explosion lights up the battlefield for miles. Frank dives away just in time as flaming debris rains down. He's done it. Against all odds, the balloon is gone, and Frank Luke has just earned his place in history. When he returns to base, even his skeptical squadron commander is stunned. This reckless young pilot had just accomplished something few ever dared to try. From that moment on, Frank Luke's legend began to grow. He wasn't a man of many words, but he was full of fire. He formed a close friendship with another brave flyer, Lieutenant Joseph Wenner. Together, they became one of the most feared duos in the sky. They volunteered for every mission, and when there were no missions, they went out on their own. Everywhere they went, enemy balloons turned into fireballs. Their planes often returned riddled with bullet holes, but that only made them hungrier for more. On September 15th, they tried something new. They decided to attack at dusk, when visibility was poor and the enemy was busy lowering their balloons. As the evening fell, the two pilots swooped down on their target. Their guns roared, and within seconds, another balloon was burning against the darkening sky. Anti-aircraft guns opened up on them, but it was too late. The pair escaped untouched, their plan a perfect success. Word of their daring tactics spread fast. The next day, high-ranking officers arrived to watch them repeat the feat. Among the spectators was Eddie Rickenbacker, America's top ace. Before taking off, Frank Luke told Rickenbacker, "Keep your eyes on those two balloons. The first will burn at 7:15, the second at 7:19. The officers laughed. Shooting down one balloon was nearly impossible. Doing it on a schedule? Out of the question. But right on time, at 7:15, a massive explosion lit up the horizon. Moments later, at 7:19, another fireball erupted in the distance. The watching crowd cheered in disbelief. Frank Luke had done the impossible, twice. From that day forward, he became known as the Arizona Balloon Buster. But the glory didn't last long. On September 18th, just 6 days after his rampage began, tragedy struck. While attacking two more balloons, Frank and Wenner were ambushed by German fighters. Wenner fought bravely, but was shot down and killed. Frank didn't realize what had happened until it was too late. Losing his closest friend devastated him, but he didn't stop. He went back to the skies alone, taking down balloon after balloon, determined to finish what they had started together. On September 29th, Frank Luke went out for what would be his final mission. 3 balloons were spotted deep behind enemy lines, 6 miles into German territory. Most pilots would have refused. Frank didn't hesitate. He destroyed the first balloon, then the second, but as he lined up for the third, a shell burst nearby. A piece of shrapnel tore into his chest. Wounded and bleeding, he still pulled the trigger one last time. The third balloon exploded in flames, his 18th victory. Moments later, his plane crashed near the town of Mervaux, France. Frank managed to climb out, pistol in hand, ready to fight, but he collapsed before the enemy reached him. At just 21 years old, Frank Luke Jr. was gone. In only 17 days of combat, he destroyed 14 enemy balloons and 4 aircraft, a record unmatched even by the Red Baron himself. He was awarded the Medal of Honor and 2 Distinguished Service Crosses for his unmatched courage and sacrifice. Years later, his legacy would inspire generations of American aviators. Even in 2023, when a high-altitude balloon was spotted drifting over the United States, 2 F-22 Raptors were sent to destroy it. Their call signs were Frank 1 and Frank 2, referring a tribute to the daring pilot who once ruled the skies. A century may have passed, but the spirit of Frank Luke, the fearless Arizona balloon buster, still soars in the hearts of those who dare to fly. If you enjoyed this story of heroism and history, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss more true war stories from our channel.